Alright guys, we're back for another video session. Yesterday in my video I said we were going off to Naracoorte. Left here at about 9:30, headed towards Naracoorte. We went to the Naracoorte caves to start off with. We went into the Alexander cave, and that's where you've got the stalagmites and stalactites. It was a very steep cave to go into. There was a lot of beautiful stalagmites and stalactites. The tour took about half an hour, and our tour lady gave us a little bit of information on how the cave has become what it has, and how many years ago that it formed. With these sort of caves, it does form like 500 years ago or 500,000 years ago. She's been doing the tours for 30 odd years and she hadn't lost anyone until today. She was trying to do a tour and she tried to separate our group a bit, and not my group but the other group decided to go for a little walk on their own, so she had to go get them and bring them back. She showed us actually how these sort of rock formations happen, and you will see it in some of the video footage I took on this particular cave. There was quite a few steps going down into the cave. Once you got down into the cave, it was dark as. But when she turned the lights on, you could see this beautiful rock formation that happened. And there is actually something going on down in the caves from up above. It's the tree roots. Now, the tree roots are actually starting to come through into the caves, and she showed us that. We wouldn't know what would happen if the tree had died. Would it become a stalagmite or a stalactite? Stalagmites, I think, come from the ceiling. Stalagmites grow up from the ground. She wasn't 100% sure on that. She did show us a beautiful section of the cave where they have found some bones, not human bones, but animal bones. They're always doing research on those caves. One particular person goes into this little hole and digs her way around into the hole, and she has found about 46 bags of animal bones. Then she takes those bones and cleans them, and then she finds out what sort of animal those bones are from. So technology is a good way of finding out what bones belong to what animals, and I presume it would come into with DNA as well, like us. Then after we got out of the Alexander cave, we were just going to head off to Naracoorte, and the guide said to us if we wanted to, we could go to the other cave by ourselves, and this was called Spiked Tomato Cave. Now, I don't know why it was called Spiked Tomato Cave. I have not got a clue. It might be just the way the formation of the cave happened. So Pete and I decided to go down there and have a look through the cave ourselves, and that was a very fascinating sort of cave as well. A lot of moss has grown on the cave area of what has happened down in that cave. But if you're at Naracoorte, please go to the caves. They are worth the money. It cost us $40 to go through to the Alexander Cave. They do have other caves like the Bat Cave, Alexander Cave, a fossil cave, spiked tomato cave, and all different formations of caves down there. Then we decided to go and head towards Naracoorte. We got there at about 1:30. Had some lunch in the bakery. I had a pie. I shouldn't have. But I found that there was too much pastry on the pie. She didn't put enough tomato sauce on it. But it's up to you if you like a lot of pastry or not on pies. Then we decided to go to a place where the information centre is, and it's called the Sheep. Now you've got me. Something to do with sheep. It took us about an hour to go through that, and this place is about shearing, of how they did the shearing in the old days, what they had to do to shear the sheep, drench the sheep, and back in those days, as we looked through all this, with the tools they had and trying to shear the sheep, must have been so hard, because it was just amazing what we saw. And there was just different types of wool. There was like thick wool, thin wool, and it showed you actually what type of wool. You've got the wool that comes off the sheep, then they wash the wool, then they spin the wool, and that's how we get wool today, due to jumpers and woolly jumpers and everything. But back in the old days, it must have been hard work. And then they'd have to bale the wool up with a baler, and they are massive. And then they would have to cart the wool with a cart and horses or bore animals to the nearest town. They never had trucks or anything like we do nowadays, so it must have been hard work of when they did this. I am putting together a video photo sort of thing of the Naracoorte Caves and Naracoorte, and I will do one for Penola. We head home tomorrow, so it's our last day in Penola. But we have had such an exhausting day today. But there is so much to do in Naracoorte. We didn't actually get to finish doing it, but we will be back to finish our little journey of Naracoorte and continue our wonderful journey. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, and I will be putting this video up very soon. Hooroo from the Guru.